What's up? What's up? Thanks for coming back through. Today we're going to do an obscure one again, one that maybe not a lot of people know about, maybe not a lot of people have gotten their feet in. Again, I've seen this shoe and this brand advertised mostly on Instagram and social media, but I was able to get my hands on another pair. Now, it started when I got a hold of the 361 Degrees Flame 3. Love that shoe. It's very quick, very fast, comfortable, not too mushy. Curious about it, I wanted to check out the Flame 4. Now, the cool thing about this particular pair is this Flame 4 comes in a mismatched alternating colorway. Yeah, that's fresh. There are some similarities to the Flame 3. As a matter of fact, built on very much the same platform, just a little bit more robust, but much of the same technology iterated up to make it a new shoe, not a completely, not a total redesign, but I'd say a revamping. There's a lot of good things that work with this shoe. A couple of things that do annoy, and I wish that they had them, but overall, amazing shoe. So let's get into it. Got another pair of these coming because I wanted to test out a crazy colorway where the shoes are mismatched on purpose. Upper midsole, outsole, like we always do. The mesh on this shoe is a bit different than the original. We're going to look at it mainly in the upper. The mesh on this one was a little more open on the Flame 3. On this, it seems to be a sort of micro mesh with a very, very thin overlay. Breathability is super high. You can actually see right through this shoe. You can even see the shoe form that's in it right now. Great shape. I love the geometry of it. It's slightly asymmetrical on the lacing, just slightly. Nothing that's too bizarre on it, just slightly. Now, there are some overlays, some hard overlays that do pull up on the upper. They match the paint job underneath, but you can see there that there are some overlays fused to the mesh to give it a little more robust tie. Fused and reinforced lacing. Now, this eyelet right here actually ties down into something that I thought was a gusset initially. Is not. It's just a little upper support right around the midfoot and the arch. The tongue is not gusseted down. I don't feel it move a lot. It hasn't moved a lot on me, but I am a little frustrated that gusseting isn't just the norm when you've got very thin, very mesh-based, breathable tongues. I don't know why it's not always gusseted down. It's got kind of a tactile toe, and pretty hard on that toe counter. This little piece here is 3M reflective. Very, very nice upper, like solid upper. Not a huge departure from the previous model, but a good upgrade, should I say. Just inside there, the heel padding on that is pretty good. Really nice on the Achilles. However, it doesn't really hold you in. I got a little bit of slippage. That was some of the points off for this one. I wish there was a slightly better lockdown or a slightly better curve on that. And I think that has to do with the midsole, which we'll get into in a bit. Same kind of bony overlay here that makes it hard while the heel counter itself is flexible. Just a little more support. I think that's one of the sewed spots where you can see some of the stitching and then they fused over the top of it. Let's get into that midsole. The midsole is a two-piece midsole. You can see it sits actually, well, if you're being technical about it, it's a three-piece midsole. We'll get into that. Two pieces fused together, same exact density, not a dual density, just a sandwiched midsole. Why? Because they slipped that quick bone dynamic plate inside of there. Now, the dynamic plate on this one, again, quick bone dynamic. On the 3, You can see it start to escape a little bit there. They had one of the more unique plate designs that saw the forefoot be flanged so that it could move independently without having stiffness all the way through. So you get a good stout stiff ride, but when it gets up to the toe, there's a little bit of roll and there's a three piece that moves independently to allow your foot to move more naturally while still having the carbon fiber plate. So this is carbon fiber and you can see it start to escape right there. Now, as you roll through, the wing here and the wing here are not attached directly to the middle. They actually ride along the side, still maintaining the same swoop of the plate, the same profile of the plate, but allowing a little flexibility in that forefoot. That is a great feeling. There are a few plated shoes that don't give me a problem over the long haul because of the shape and the stiffness. This quick bone dynamic plate almost disappears in this shoe. You get the benefits of the stiffness, but you're not really thinking about how rigid it is. Um, and they have that yes window that they talked about there. There we go. That does collapse. It's got a little more reinforcement here, but it provides a little bit of a soft roll and cushioning on collapse. Now, this shoe has a rocker profile and it's really, really nice. It has a roll point that I'm feeling right about the arch. I'd say it really gets into the roll at about maybe the 50 to 60% range going forward, which is really cool. It does sit the toe up a little high, and maybe I'm saying that the wrong way. Maybe it sits the heel down a little low. It's got a fairly good stack. I do believe it's a 39 millimeter stack. But the way that the profile is, you sit into that heel before you rock. So you get a full foot rocker, and you can kind of see there where they've cut that heel out to allow for a little bit of that sink, also reduction of weight. But I do love how you transition. When you transition up, they've done a very similar thing that Nike has done with the Vapor line and the Alpha Fly line, where there's not a lot of traction where you're not going to go. I suppose Adidas has done that also, where right there, they've shaved off a piece of that midsole to streamline it toward the front and not put tread or padding where you're not going to need it. That's really unique the way they've done it. It's different on others. This is closest to what I've seen with the Adios Pro 4 and 3 line, where they've got that huge cutout and some exposed foam right there. But I do like the way that they've done that to streamline all the way through. The foam itself is a supercritical foam. It is light, it is bouncy, it is airy, it gives you a great squish, a great feel. That's stout, but not mushy. I do not like the mush. This shoe you can get into and right back out of fairly quickly. Moving to the outsole, not a ton has changed. The grip is very similar. You just get a little more of it. The shoe is a tad bit wider. You can see how the 3 was very narrow through the arch. Similar shape, but a little bit more robust. I do like the tread pattern. It's basically a full foot tread. I've been in these for the last 2 weeks. There's minimal tearing when that foam hits the ground because there's quite a lot of rubber under there. I don't think in terms of weight reduction, they were going for weight reduction with less rubber. They just had big cutouts. Again, right through there, you can see that quick bone dynamic plate. As for looks, the shoe is very attractive. I could probably do without the crazy squiggles, but that seems to be their signature on all of their shoes. Even the 361 basketball shoes have that same look. The serrated laces are very, very good. I call them serrated because they're kind of like a knife edge. I've heard them called other things, but we're going to go with serrated on mine. I love that because they lock in very, very well. They get your, once you tie it, those laces don't move backward. They don't slip. Insole is slim, like on most super shoes that have a lot of stack. The insole, they keep that minimal for stability, because if you put a big insole in a big stack, you're going to wobble all over the place. It's just how it is. Now, best part also, probably the price. All of this tech, which matches the tech of any other shoe brand out there. All of this tech I got for $130 US shipped. I did buy them on the Poison app, Poizon. I'm not endorsing them. I am not sponsored by them, just telling you where they came from. They go through an authentication process and then overseas shipping. So they took a while to get here, usually within 2 weeks, 10 days to 14 days. Worth it when they do, though. I'll tell you that much. Very worth it when they do. I'll be interested to see what a more traditional looking pair looks like. You know, the colorways on this one are dope. Cannot beat it. The tech is all there. You won't be disappointed. 361 is really coming with some bangers. And I'm glad I stumbled upon this brand a couple months ago because it is really surprising how good a shoe you can get without the super high inflated price of simply a major brand name. Everybody has the tech now. Everybody has the tech now. That democratization that we always talk about. So that is the Flame 4 from 361 Degrees. We will see you in the next one. Appreciate you. Peace.